The Point of View is brought to you by Cowbell Coffee. Cowbell Coffee. Taste it, love it. South Africa Tourism. South Africa Tourism. Inspiring new ways.
Welcome to another edition of your favorite kind affairs program on television, The Point of View, right here on Citi TV. My name is Duke Mensopoko, sitting in for your regular host, Bernard Koku Avle. Now, all over the world, inter-hall rivalries on university campuses are meant to engender healthy competition and rivalry, but it becomes a matter of concern when these rivalries degenerate into rancor, antagonism, and sheer pure violence. That's the story at the University of Ghana, where tensions have been simmering for months. Of course, this tradition goes for a number of years between Commonwealth Hall and the Mensa Saba Hall. Matters came to a head a couple of weeks ago when the two halls clashed and violence ensued. Cars were burnt, and the bust, the revered bust of Mensa Saba, situated in front of the hall, was actually taken. We'll be exploring these clashes, what the undercurrents are, and what can be done to resolve a matter that is a blot on the conscience of many, and many say has gone a long way to taint the image of the country's premier university. We'll take a break. When I come back, I'll introduce my guests and we'll set the discussion rolling. Stay with us. You're welcome back. This is still The Point of View right here on Citi TV. Joining me in studio in this edition, I have the Pro Vice Chancellor, Academic and Student Affairs, Professor Gordon, yes, Awandare. Welcome, Prof.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yes. I've also been joined by Prince Asumadu, who is the President of the Student Representative Council. Mr. President, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we're also expecting to be joined by a former Chief Vandal, a former lecturer, who's on sabbatical to be engaged in politics. He's on the Education Committee of Parliament, Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee. As soon as he joins us, we'll introduce him, and he will join the conversation with his unique perspectives as well. Okay, so what's the latest on this matter? After the violence that ensued on the University of Ghana campus, which I earlier alluded to, the governing council of the university has taken some decisions, key of which would be presenting to you. Now, in a bid to resolve the matters, the university early on, days after that incident took place, issued a statement condemning what had taken place and promised to investigate the matter. Now, as part of the investigations, some findings have already been unveiled, outlined, put out there. Now, one of it is that the hall master and the senior hall tutor of Commonwealth Hall have not exhibited, as part of the findings, have not exhibited sufficient willingness and ability to hold students of the hall accountable for their actions in recent violent clashes. These officers should therefore, in the interim, be relieved of their duties while management works with the security services to investigate the clashes. Okay. 2, Commonwealth Hall is to be surcharged with the cost of damages to property in the vicinity of Mensa Saba Hall in the recent clashes. And then the junior common room presidents of Commonwealth and Mensa Saba Halls should be referred to the disciplinary committee of junior members for their actions and inactions leading to and after the riots. The final key finding, management of the 2 affected halls are to be held accountable for their actions and inactions for the persistent riots. Now, members of the Commonwealth Hall residents did not take kindly to this. And yesterday, they began charging, what is known as charging in student parlance, and that actually already an already bad situation in terms of the heavy security presence on campus had to be further beefed up. Our colleague Fred Duho was there and he put together this report.
Charles, from the Ghana Police Headquarters, Greater Accra Regional Police Command and the Legon District have been engaging leadership of Commonwealth and Mensa Sabah halls to find an amicable solution to the ensuing tension. Management of the University of Ghana, in a press statement issued on August 15, 2022, in the interim, relieved the hall master and senior tutor of Commonwealth Hall of their duties for their inability to hold students accountable for their actions in recent violent clashes. According to the statement, this will allow management to investigate the root cause and find lasting solutions to the tension. The statement further indicated that Commonwealth Hall must be surcharged with the cost of damages to property in the vicinity of Mensa Sabah Hall. The police administration, after the protest, engaged leadership on the way forward on security to ensure lasting peace. DCOP Mohammed Suraj assured the public that the police are on top of issues to enforce peace.
These are officials of the police from the top rank, some from the police headquarters and some from region, basically from the engagement with the leadership of Vandals or from the Commonwealth Hall. And so far they are done with their engagement.
We are here to ensure that we monitor our deployment on campus. I don't know whether you've gone around to see how deployed. We haven't spoken about that. We are here to ensure that our officers are operating very well. Took the opportunity to also interact with the halls. From here, we are moving towards our hall to also find out how our men are operating. As for what has gone on there, it's an internal police interaction. We can't mention anything yet because there's nothing even happening. So when the need arises, we'll talk to you. We want to thank you very much for supporting us and cooperating with the police for what we've been doing to ensure peace and serenity on campus so that students will be able to go about their studies successfully without any problem.
While at Mensa Sabah Hall, the vehicle that was burnt during the clash was towed to the Legon police station.
The police administration from the headquarters and regional are basically here to engage with leadership of the two halls to find some amicable solution to this ensuing conflict between the students from the two halls. So far, we understand students from the Vandals or Commonwealth Hall are agitating about the action taken by the university administration, which calls for, they are calling for some form of restoration of those that have been sacked and those that are supposed to meet disciplinary action in the coming days. So far, the police say they won't speak on record, but only to assure the general public that there is peace on campus, and they will do everything possible within their power to ensure this issue do not degenerate into something else. My name is Fred Duo reporting for Citi News.
Okay, so that was Fred Duho's report. Let me come in studio and begin the discussion. Let me begin with you, Mr. President. First of all, I think giving a background to this will help all of us. I'm sure even long before you even became a student, all these underlying currents between Commonwealth Hall, Vandals, and then, Sabah has always been an issue. But what triggered the latest round of feud between the two parties?
Well, thank you very much, Duke.
Yeah.
And before I proceed, I think I have to extend my warm greetings to the First Lady of University of Ghana, which is the Vice Chancellor, Professor Nanaba Piamfo, and the team for the tremendous work they are doing within the university and also to the entire student populace. Well, this particular incident that happened on the 5th of August, Friday night, I personally wasn't there when the incident took place. I was at Hillary Man Hall when I received a call to come to the scene. If we are saying we're going to base on hearsay to determine what actually triggered the issue, then we cannot take any decision based on a very concrete findings or data. So that's why in the wisdom of the university management and other stakeholders, we invited the security agencies to come on board because they have the technical know-how to know what actually happened. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Prof, let me come to you. So the university was swift. I think days after, a statement was issued indicated that there was going to be an investigation to that effect. And then subsequently, we saw the statement out of which excerpts, were read.
Yeah.
First of all, how did you get to know of this issue, and what are the processes that were triggered to get to where we are?
All right. Good evening, Duke, and good evening to all your viewers. So on Friday, Friday of 5th August, I was out of campus, having a drink with some friends in the airport area, and then I got a call from the SRC president, then the police commander, telling me that there was some trouble on campus. So I quickly drove back to campus, and so when I got there, they had already finished. The class was already over, and the students had all retreated to their respective halls. So when I got there, I saw the carnage that had taken place in terms of the destruction of vehicles and whatever was in the way, So we actually started to mobilize to respond at night in terms of what to do next.
Okay.
So I was in touch with the Vice Chancellor and other senior university officials, and the police were also on ground. And, this was escalated to the highest levels of the police.
Yeah.
And so they sent in a strong team, and we had a meeting, a short meeting to sort of map the way forward.
Yeah.
So, at that meeting we took some preliminary decisions about what to do, and especially to reinforce security for the next few days. Then the following day we had a more elaborate meeting with the police command to map out the short to medium term strategies for maintaining the peace on the campus. So that was now Saturday. Yeah. Then on the Monday, the university processes started. Committee was set up to investigate. Senior management also had a long meeting where all the hall officials were invited to tell us what they know. So the reports from the senior management meeting as well as the investigative committee were then sent to the council, which met on the Thursday. And then the council deliberated for several hours and then came out with these findings based on the two reports they had and all the other information that was before them. So the communication that came from the registrar on Monday is a reflection of the council decisions.
But in the course of the investigations, did the council speak to any of the? Did they speak to people?
No, the investigative committee did that.
So the investigative committee spoke to people.
Yeah.
And that was in their reports.
Correct.
So what is the account of the investigative report in relation to what happened, what transpired, what triggered?
Well, the short of it, because the details are still being unraveled, but what we know so far is that apparently some students of Commonwealth Hall were harassed by students of Mensa Sabah Hall during the course of the day, and so that triggered Commonwealth Hall students to then mobilize themselves to go and retaliate. And so that is basically what we know so far.
I see. So many a time you listen and then people say that this. I'm sure, Prof. Even when you were a student, these tensions were for whatever it's worth, and it's not only on the University of Ghana campus. At KNUST, there's something similar. On UCC campus, there's something. So every now and then, it erupts. But most of the time, the blame is, laid at the doorstep of university management. That when you know that these currents are there and it will just take something little to spark it, is the management proactive enough when it comes to some of these?
Well, I think that You can always do better. When you have a situation like this, you can always do better. But I don't think we should be excusing students' misbehavior. In fact, this is criminal behavior. There's no excuse for that.
Yeah.
Even if there was no security at all, students should not be burning cars and breaking windscreens and smashing vehicles and basically smashing whatever was in their wake and throwing big rocks at each other. This is unacceptable, even if there was no security. So for us, we want to focus on the crime. These are crimes. What we can do better, we'll deal with that also. In fact, since the last clash, we started to put some measures in place. But we cannot try to excuse, at this point, you don't excuse the crime because of what triggered what or what conditions. No, those will be unraveled and dealt with. But there's a crime that has been committed, and there's no excuse for the crime.
Okay. All right, let me go on Zoom now. Let me talk to Dr. Clementa Park. Dr. Park, are you there? Can you hear me? Dr. Park? Okay, so, yes, Dr. Park, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, loud and clear.
Great.
Yes, so I'm sure, I mean, when you were a student, I mean, these tensions that you have with some, of course, you were in Commonwealth, or, I mean, got into a revered position as one of the chief vandals during your year group. What do you make of what vandalism has become now?
Well, that is a profound question that you have asked. And we know vandalism, or the word vandal, as an acronym, which is vivacious, affable, neighborly, dedicated, altruistic, loyals. So that is what vandalism stands for. Every generation is confronted by a different set of issues, and every generation reacts differently depending on the causal factors. Even when there is a provocation, clearly the tendency to try and even up has always been something that is within the fabric of vandals. And so if you ask me what vandalism has become, it is difficult to describe within the current context, because the information that we, the old vandals, both in Parliament, where we have a group, and the National Alumni Association has picked up, is that, you know, a number of vandals were out and about. They were accosted in the vehicle, and the person who was driving the vehicle was extracted and given a very severe beating. And that was the issue that then triggered what many now describe as a clash. So in addressing this issue, we also want those in charge to be fair and dispassionate as possible, so that it doesn't look as though, you know, the boys in Commonwealth are going to be singled out and blamed for what happened, when indeed it takes two to tango. And you see, we are a bit more worried too, because we have noticed the rather extreme action that the university has initiated, suspending both the hall master and the senior tutor as the, you know, investigation goes along. And we feel that action perhaps is a bit high-handed, because we don't understand why the university management should choose to penalize the hall master and senior tutor of Commonwealth Hall, when it is not only Commonwealth Hall or Commonwealth Hall students who were participants in this clash that is being investigated.
Doc, we are being told.
So
we are being told by. We are being told by. Professor Awandari that the decision was taken based on the report of the committee that did the preliminary investigative work. I mean, that doesn't mean we can't question that, but of course that must have been the basis upon which that decision was taken. Of course, we'll be querying some of the the basis essentially for taking that decision, but that is what informed the decision that was taken, which you are essentially alleging some form of bias against.
Yes, because until we are given the full picture for us to appreciate why this action has been taken, I fail to understand how a senior tutor and a hall master, who clearly would not have sanctioned what happened no matter what, and perhaps were not even in the know and cannot be direct accessories to the occurrence. So what is the justification for suspending the hall master and the senior tutor? In my whole time as a university student myself, and later on as a lecturer, this is the first time I am hearing that a hall master and a senior tutor have been suspended on account of, a clash between two groups of students on the university campus. Are they trying to suggest that somehow the hall master and senior tutor were enhancers of what happened? I really fail to understand that bit of it. This is not to say that I am opposed to the investigation, but this action in itself it raises a lot of eyebrows because I simply cannot appreciate the justification. Okay,
Doc, I'll come back to you, but we have to take a break now. You can join us with your comments via the WhatsApp line 0550585832. And also on Facebook, drop your comments down below. The stream would read them for you. We'll take a break. When I come back, we'll explore the question as to how these decisions, the concrete basis that underpins the decisions, the fact that the JCR presidents are going to face the disciplinary committee for junior members, and the suspension of the senior tutor and the hall master of Commonwealth. And then we'll begin to look for far-reaching solutions to this problem. We'll be back after the break. Stay with us. You're welcome back. This is still the point of view right here on Citi TV. My name is Shukman Topoko. Well, so before we went to the break, Dr. Park was making a submission. Essentially, he's alleging bias against the committee in the governing council that did the work as to how come it only looks like it's Commonwealth Hall management who are facing the brunt, or who are bearing the brunt of this decision. Now, Prof, straight away I'll come to you on this concern, because after the statement issued by the registrar was made public, certain consent. I even read an long article written by a former an alumna of Commonwealth Hall, or as to chronicling the issues and why they think that. Even before that, a day after the incident, the Commonwealth Hall JCR issued a statement completely dissociating the hall, completely dissociating themselves from what had occurred. So maybe you can tell us the kind of deliberations and underpinnings to this decision, which happens to, sanctioned the hall master, the senior hall tutor of Commonwealth Hall, of course, with the JCR presidents. Both of them are involved in this matter.
Yeah, well, so good evening to my friend, the Honorable Apak. Well, I think that in this discussion, since the statement was issued, what I've realized is that so many people don't read the statement. They hear what people have told them, and they run with that. You read the statement. Did the statement say that the hall master and senior hall tutor were asked to step aside because they organized the students to go in
the interim?
Yes. And what was the reason? They gave a reason.
Yeah.
They gave a reason. If you read it, it's more about what they did not do than what they did. If you read the statement. You understand?
Yeah.
And I think that I would like to encourage people to go on the university website and look at the members of the University Council. Yeah? Look at the members of the University Council. Before you start talking about they are biased, check the membership of the University Council.
So this is the particular finding which Dr. Park is talking about.
Yeah, so
yes.
really,
that the Hall Master have not exhibited sufficient willingness and ability to hold students of the Hall accountable for their actions in the recent violence clashes. These officers should therefore in the interim be relieved of their duties while management works with the security services to investigate the clash. Maybe you can tell us.
So if you are
what was expected of the senior tutor and the Hall Master to fish out the culprits and put them out there?
No. Okay. We expect cooperation.
Okay. And they have not cooperated, or they did not cooperate?
The facts were on the table for the council to decide.
What were the facts?
The council did not think that they were doing enough to help identify the culprits and to stop this problem from recurring.
Prof, in what concrete terms did they not assist? Yes, I'll allow you to make.
Let me give you an example. Both of them deny. First of all, they deny that any students from their hall were involved.
Really?
Yes. Yes, that's what they told us. They told the committee as well. That their students were asleep. That their JCR president told them their students were asleep. And that there was nothing happening. And that everybody was in the hall. Nobody went anywhere. How do you proceed from there? How do you proceed to investigate that? How do you get help from such people to investigate?
We're simply uncooperative.
Well, I'm just telling you an example. One example.
I'm asking the question.
I'm just giving one example of what we're talking about, what the council was presented with. Okay? So, if you don't recognize the seriousness of this crime, it's a crime that was committed. If you don't recognize the seriousness of the crime, and they need to find the people who did it, even if people came from outside and did it and ran into your hall, you should be interested in finding out who are those who did this and ran into my hall. You understand? But if you are not interested, if you don't think that anything serious has happened, we are saying simply just give way so that those who can help us make progress would help us make progress. They are not being sacked as lecturers. They're still lecturers. They can still go about their job as lecturers. We're just saying that don't be responsible for the hall anymore so that we can make progress.
But Prof, on the flip side, what about the senior tutor and the hall master for Sabah? Were they questioned at all? Did the investigative committee stretch their arms towards them?
All of them were presented with the same circumstances, the same interactions, and the responses were different.
What were their responses?
I don't want to go into all this, but I'm just telling you that look at the council composition, and they looked at the conduct of the two hall officials, and they found that there was a difference in the way they conducted themselves. And that's why the decision was taken that way. Okay?
Interesting. All right, let me come to you. I'm concerned about the JCR presidents in this matter, especially they having to face the DC. Because we know that when it comes to the elements that do these things, sometimes sometimes even wield, it shouldn't be the case, but sometimes they even wield much more power beyond the official, political structure within that. And I'm talking about the JCR. So when it comes to, for instance, Commonwealth Hall, and the outfit is mobilizing people, sometimes the JCR presidents even they just don't have the power to be able to control some of these things. Of course, we sat in council when this decision was taken. I'm interested in finding out how the conclusion was reached that the JCR president should also face, but they're also uncooperative.
Thank you very much. You stated earlier that after University Management released a communique on the 6th of August, there was a counter communique from the Office of the President, JCR President of Commonwealth Hall. Yes. Now, if you look at what happened, you are the person representing the interest of the people within your hall.
Legitimately.
Exactly. They've given you the mandate to represent their interest within the structures of the university. So if something happened right now and university management is calling on you, for instance, as me being the SRC president, if something happened right now, general issue among students happen right now, I'm not expecting the council chair to place a call to any ordinary student apart from me.
Of course.
Yes, that's why we have
official mouthpiece.
Exactly. So the same way they are also official mouthpiece of the constituent within the hall. So I believe that the DC is going to do due diligence to find out. I believe they are just going to liaise with the DC to actually tell their story, their part of their story to the DC, so that investigations as soon as possible come.
But did these presidents speak to the investigative committee, the committees that established the preliminary matters to be determined by a council?
Oh yes.
So yes, they've already been spoken to.
They've already been spoken to. Yes.
Okay. I'm told Union Building also suffered. Suffered.
We always suffered from this clash.
What happened in terms of what's the level of destruction?
So
in terms of what goes?
Yeah, our brand new notice board got spoiled. They smashed everything there. The ATM machines around the Union Building, the MTN mobile money vendor around there too. They smashed everything. Glass went off.
Oh. So this is you are head of the student body, and this is a time that requires a lot of tact. So you have to understand what management is trying to do, and at the same time not seem to be leaving behind students. That's a very uncomfortable position to be in right now. I don't envy you at all. But the question is, this is a matter that has, it's criminal for all intents and purposes. Exactly. Because without hiding under the cloak of a hall or anything, you can't just go and burn somebody's car.
Exactly.
How does the university begin to address these challenges without, whatever coloration or whatever cloak people may find themselves under, looking at the fact that it's a criminal activity in the first place?
So, yes, I think this is the time for us to bring finality to all these unnecessary things that happen on campus. It's not any other university, the University of Ghana. The following day after the incident has happened, the calls I received, both locally and internationally, we have international students among us. We have students from all walks of life among us. And if we don't tackle the issue according to its roots, one day you may wake up and you will find dead bodies on campus. You get it. So I believe that we shouldn't take sides. Yes, if you ask somebody who completed and from Mensa Sabah, the person will speak to the favor of the resident of Mensa Sabah. They will not tackle the real issue, same as vandals will do same. So what I would tell these two halls and their associates is that this is the time that we all need to come together, put the facts and everything on the table, analyze the situations, and block it from happening again. Because I wished you were there the day that the incident happened, and how people got hurt, throwing bottles here and there, burning cars, splitting of acid and all those things.
Wow.
Yes, and this is an intellectual community, society, and we cannot condone or just sit aloof for such activities or attitude to continue. So I'm pleading with each and everyone that this is not the time that we need to take sides. We should allow the system to work, and it may interest you to know that the chairperson of the University of Ghana Council is a former Chief Justice.
Yeah.
So if I hear the council have taken sides and just want to penalize one over the other, one way or the other, I think looking at the composition of the council, if people
think the council will do a fair job, they are above bias.
What's their interest in punishing one over the other? And I think this is the right time that we need to go deep to the root and make sure that we put a stop to such attitudes.
All right. Let me come to you, Dr. Park. Dr. Park. Yeah. So, yeah, you have your answer. The whole master and senior tutor were told we're uncooperative.
Well, uncooperative is subjective, so we are waiting to hear the real story behind the story. But be as it may, I heard my brother Prof. Awandari indicating that we should read. Yes, we have read, and we understand what has been issued and the communication that we are supposed to understand. The issue of whether the hall master and senior tutor were not cooperative or were cooperative would depend on what they knew and the information that they also received.
But Prof, to say that students were not involved, was that not, Doc? Was that not even hasty for managers of?
That is what he's saying. That is what Prof is saying. Yeah. I have not seen the report, but be as it may, the hall master and senior tutor don't reside in the hall.
Of course.
So if perhaps,
but obviously they obviously would have been briefed, looking at what the magnitude of the situation at hand. Cars being burned, people being hurt, the pictures going, videos going viral. Obviously, the masters, they would have been briefed on this issue. So for them to go to the,
I am only briefed for them.
Okay.
It is based on the information that they had, that they probably gave their responses.
Yes.
Now, the university authorities are not satisfied. So they have chosen to say that they should move aside. But how do they, moving aside, enhance or negate the progress of the investigation? That is what I don't understand. They can still occupy their positions whilst the independent committee or whatever group has been put together goes on with this investigation. It's the point that.
But Doc, you know that for instance, let me just use this analogy, Doc. Even when, for instance, in normal, even police or when security officers find themselves in certain situations, they're first of all interdicted to allow investigations to go on. That's not to say the master and senior tutor were wrong or anything like that. But the standard procedure, even among the security services, for the officers or the officials to be interdicted first of all to allow for these investigations to proceed. After which, if there are no adverse findings against them, they are reinstated, they go about their duty. Don't you think it's the same thinking and reasoning behind this decision?
Well, that could be the case. But you must recognize that the hall master and the senior tutor were not direct participants in as far as the incident is concerned.
Okay.
So they have a responsibility of superintending over the hall. Yes, that is well and good and understood.
Yeah.
But they were not part of the group of students from other hall who engage in the matter that is under discussion. But be as it may, what we are calling for is a fair, thorough, and just process to ensure that the culprits are identified. And we cannot conclude that the culprits or those who perpetrated the actions for which the investigation is being conducted belong to only one hall. And I think that point ought to be made.
It ought to be made, and that this should be a very fair and balanced investigation.
Exactly my point.
Okay. Prof, you have an intervention.
Yeah.
Quickly before.
Thank you. Yeah. I think my brother is coming home now. I think he has he's acknowledging that some realities are bound to take place in such situations. You see, people don't even know that when these things happen, the first person who was arrested was a student of Mensa Sabaho.
Really?
Yeah. The student, one of the students was allegedly, part of the group that harassed or attacked the Commonwealth student. The person was arrested and was questioned and is still in detention. I don't even know if they've been released today.
Oh, okay.
So, and this one, did you hear Sabaho protest and scream that were unfair? At that time, no Commonwealth Hall student was even touched. So let's be fair to each other here. I mean, nobody is interested in any, arbitrary actions. We are trying to get to a place, which is that we want to find the culprits, like Doc also said. But if you find that there are some processes that you need to take, and people who are supposed to facilitate that process are not facilitating the process, you don't say that you let them be there and then you try to work around them. Doc says that the hall master and the hall tutor are not
directly involved.
Yeah, but
which is the case.
But no. But what I'm saying is that it's like a household. They are like parents in the house.
Local parents.
Yes, they are the parents of the hall. So it's like you've gone out or you've traveled and you saw on the news everywhere that your children went to fight down the street. 2 days later, you still say that your children were asleep.
Okay. On that note, we'll take a break. When I come back, we'll start looking for the solutions, the long-term solutions to end this matters on UG campus. We'll back after the break. You're welcome back. This is still the point of view right here on Citi TV. We're trying to find a solution resolving the perennial clashes between Mensa Sabaho and Commonwealth Hall on the University of Ghana campus. The recent matter which has brought everybody, both trying to discuss and find a permanent solution to this issue that crops up every now and then on the University of Ghana campus. So let's begin finding solutions to this issue. Now, I'll begin with you, SRC President. Solutions, long-term solutions.
I think the University Council, which is the highest decision-making body in the university, made some suggestions that the compositions of these two halls must be reviewed. I think if we are going to take it into consideration in good faith, I think it would also be one of the solutions.
So you are suggesting that, Commonwealth Hall should be made a mixed hall.
They said it must be reviewed. So
maybe you are being diplomatic about it.
In the wisdom of the University Council, they believe that if they make it a mixed hall, at least it will go a long way to prevent such incidents happening.
So actually, that suggestion has come up. It did come up at the university.
Yes, it was part of the release that came from the University Council. Yes, it was part.
And you think that would be a permanent solution to this? Because Mensa Sabaho Annex B, which is the Republic of Oponglo, at the height of all of these, this was about 8 years ago, was made that's at the time I was entering the university in 2011. That's when, an incident that happened there, that also degenerated into a national matter. And it was turned into a mixed block. Sabah is already a mixed hall. But that was the only all-male block. It did not solve the matters. As we speak, Sabah Annex B is a mixed block. But
three blocks for females and 2 for males. And we cannot sack students, or we cannot say we will not admit students into these two various halls. Well, that's why this time around the university want to set the tone, use people to set example. I believe that if we're able to punish or if you're able to bring the corporates to book and they face the regulations of the university and also the laws of Ghana, it will deter other colleagues too from, indulging themselves in such incidents.
But fishing out the corporates has even become an issue.
That's the problem.
To the point that the bus that was taken is still not being found.
That's the problem. You see, so yes, and I think me being the father of all students, I have to advise them. Times have changed, and we also need to change. This is the premier university, the nation's hope and glory. I believe our forefathers didn't just say this, that University of Ghana is the nation's hope and glory. They saw something in us that, we are going to contribute to the making of Ghana. So such attitude doesn't speak well of us, and in good faith we have to come together as one. We are all one people, and make sure that we do away with such attitude and focus on studying to become better persons in
rather
Ghana.
than engaging in such
exactly
activities on campus. Let me come to Dr. Park on this issue. Let's look for the solutions to this problem. You find yourself in a unique position, from student leadership to lecturer, so from junior member to senior member, and now in a position of policy making and influence. For you, what is the solution to this problem?
Well, I wish it was easy to prescribe a solution.
Yeah.
But I believe that we can begin by, fishing out the culprits.
Okay.
And then letting them face the rigors of the law and the regulations. I don't think that the idea of changing the composition of the halls, particularly Commonwealth Hall, is going to be the solution. You can bring in females to Commonwealth Hall, which clearly has always been one of the proposals which has been muted over the years. But I don't think that in itself is going to be a solution. But I think what we need to look at is also to, speak about respect and to speak about tolerance. Because anytime there is an eruption of this nature, there is always a trigger point, which is that somebody engages in an action that is unacceptable, and that then leads to a reprisal action, and then that also then leads to a reprisal action, and if there is no intervention, it continues to snowball. So this tendency of, people from one hall accosting and assaulting somebody from another hall and vice versa, clearly is part of the reasons why we get to where we are. So we must be tolerant and respect each other for who we are, whether a Viking or a Vandal. Everyone should be free to roam about the university wearing his hall, attire or pendant without being harassed.
Yeah.
If we can start to do that, I think we can prevent some of these occurrences.
Okay, Prof, you have the last word.
Yeah, thank you. I think my brother is he has said it very well. And I think it's people like the Honorable Apak, former Chief Vandal, very respected. They should help us and reach out to their younger colleagues there. Because I can assure my brother that the kind of people that are being harbored in these two halls, they are not the type of honorable students that we're supposed to be training. There are some bad nuts there. And if we don't fish them out, they will continue to tarnish the name of the university, and they damage the reputation of the two halls. And that affects people like my brother Apak, who are very proud to belong to this fraternity. So I think that they need to help us to get the bad guys out of this place, and that's the type of cooperation we're talking about. Let's work together to identify those who are causing the trouble and get them out. No, And I agree with him. You should be able to wear your Commonwealth Hall jersey and walk across the university and nobody should touch you. And you should be able to wear a Vikings shirt and go to Commonwealth Hall and visit your friends. And they can tease you or whatever, but it shouldn't come to violence. You understand? That's where we need to go as a university. And the decisions from the council, there are short-term, medium-term, and long-term.
Okay.
And we are going to make sure that this problem is resolved this time. We're not going to shy away from taking the difficult decisions that are necessary to solve this problem once and for all. And that we can assure the university community and the people of Ghana that we are going to do what is necessary to stop this problem once and for all. And, you know, some people are not going to be happy, but we're going to do what we have to do, you know, to bring, you know, sanity into the student population.
Okay. Let me read some messages that you've sent in. This one from Fidelis says, "Good evening, Duke. I think the incident took place on the blind side of the tutors who have been suspended. They are innocent. The investigation should look out for the students who perpetrated the crime, who then must be punished." This one says, "My solution to this Vandal-Okpo problem is simple. Commonwealth Hall should be assigned to only first-year students. After the first year, they are moved to another hall and fresh students admitted. This should continue for at least 2 decades in order to erase all the traces of this culture. The name of the hall should be changed from," no, this one is sacrilege. I will not read it. Commonwealth Hall is okay. All right. So thank you for your message. This one says, "The committee saying the hall master did not exhibit sufficient willingness. How do you expect them to fish out the culprits? They are not magicians. Besides, they can't single-handedly pinpoint students. I don't support the crime and violence, and therefore both halls should be subjected to blame." Abeku says, "I'm watching your..." Okay, so UG's class, and it's interesting. Kudos. All right. So those are your messages. And what happened is criminal. The criminal should be fished out and dealt with as suspected in tandem with the law. Thank you very much, Dr. Clement Park, is Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee, MP for Busa South. Thank you for joining us all the way from Sunyani, where the Public Accounts Committee is sitting. Professor Gordon Awandari, thank you very much for making the time. And Mr. President, SRC President, Prince Asumadu, thank you for joining us. And to you all there for joining us to, of course, doing the viewing for your viewing pleasure. Thank you very much. Point of View will be back on your screen on Monday, same time, on the same channel. My name is Duke Mensopoko. I sat in for a regular host, Bernard Kokwafle.